everybody, welcome to my channel Delululand. My name is Uhari and I hope to entertain you today. This video is dedicated to this person who asked me to do more 90 Day Fiancé content, and because I want to prove to my audience that I am a creator who wants to please you, I decided to make this video just for you. Quick question though, do you hate me? I feel like the only thing that would justify you asking me to do something like this is pure hatred. Why would you want me to look further into this community of very mentally sound people? Well, alas, I have done it, and I have found a couple worse than Asuelu and Kalani. Honestly, when I looked into these people, I almost felt like apologizing to Kalani, like, I clowned you. Perhaps too hard, because Nikki Sanders, aka Nikki Exotika, aka Nikki, aka the Plastic Barbie, aka Nikki is part of the current season of 90 Day Fiancé. She is a 47-year-old woman, and she is currently engaged to a 36-year-old man by the name of Justin. He wasn't born Justin, but we will get to that. See, what makes Nikki far worse than Kalani is that Nikki has very predatory behaviors, extremely predatory. Kalani, I believe, wasn't preying upon Asuelu. I think that when they met, at least perhaps on some level, they were on par. Perhaps it was emotionally, I don't know. My point is, Kalani fell in love on holiday, not expecting to. This is not the case with Nikki and Justin. Picture it, Moldova, 2000 and something. Nikki has been in a relationship with a man who has been deported back to his home country of Moldova, and Nikki went after him, ready to claim her love. And when she got there, dun dun dun, this man was with some other bitch. So Nikki, heartbroken but not defeated, decided to go online, and that is where she met Justin, the current love of her life. See, when they met, Nikki was 30 and Justin was 18 and or 19. The numbers are a little disputed. When they met, Justin was a literal teenager, okay? A literal teenager. This woman was attracted to a teenager, and they started dating, and they got into a very serious relationship, which resulted with Justin moving to the United States to live with Nikki. When Justin got to the United States, he didn't live up to the fantasy that Nikki had going on in her head. In the middle of a verbal altercation about him not pulling his weight, not cleaning around, and some other domestic disputes that arise when two people are living together for the first time, Nikki, in the midst of that, screamed, "Well, yeah, I was born a man."
You never told me the full story.
He was being lazy, and he wasn't helping me with the housewares, and didn't want to help me cook and things like that, that I had to do everything. I had to work, I had to cook, clean, this, that. We got into a lot of heated arguments. And in one of those arguments, I said, yeah, well, I have a secret to tell you. I used to be a man. And he freaked. I think I was about 20 years old when I did my sex change operation. It had been about 2 years that Justin and I were dating. And when I did blurt that I used to be a man, he was in shock. Like, what? Like, how could you lie to me and do this? I traumatized him. And he went home and he was depressed for a really long time. And I feel bad about that.
The fact that Nikki lived to tell this story is so rare. The number of trans women who are killed by men when they reveal that they're trans women is ungodly. This is a woman who loved him, purportedly, had spent 2 years with him, and then in a moment of discord, she weaponizes the secret that she's been keeping for 2 years. Nikki understood the devastating effects this would have on Justin's identity and mental state. She knew this because she hid it for so long. She wanted to be loved like a woman, and she knew that if Justin had known this in the beginning of their relationship, the chances that they would have stayed together weren't high. So she decided that she was going to keep this secret from him. Projected her experience with all the other heterosexual men that had rejected her prior, and decided that upon that experience, to keep this teenager, she would lie. From an empathetic standpoint, I understand why one would lie about your identity if you are a trans woman. Especially if you've already transitioned and you've been living as a woman for so long, I understand why you would be reluctant to tell people because the stigma is still very high. What I don't understand and what I can't empathize with is the weaponization of your identity. Treating your trans identity as if it were a weapon to use against a heterosexual person to hurt them. Because to them, the implication is that they slept with a man. And in that moment, you said to him, yeah, or you fucked a man. That's what you were saying. After being in this relationship as a woman, when you were angry, your internalized hatred came out and you punished him. You used your existence to punish him when you've been fighting so hard to be yourself. You took the choice away from him 2 years prior to that because you didn't give him the opportunity to decide for himself if he could deal with being in a relationship with a trans woman. I believe that that is extremely predatory because you put yourself and your desires above his life, his future. He was so young, so easy to manipulate, and so easy to exploit. So the fact that you are still alive today is really a testament to Justin's character. I know you're thinking, oh, really? Are we now just going to be giving credit to people for being the bare minimum of not murdering? Yes. Because it's not the bare minimum. When you've been manipulated to that extent, the ability to not project the immediate hurt and rage he must have felt in that moment, that shows a level of emotional maturity at that young age that this woman to this day does not possess. Now let's get into another point about her that I find to be so disgusting and predatory, and another way in which she manipulated him. B controlled him. Justin was born as Igor. His family knows him as Igor, and that's his name with which he lived his entire 18 years until he met his 30-year-old girlfriend. And what did this 30-year-old girlfriend, who in no way was in a position of power that could manipulate this young man, what did she do? She said, I don't really like your name, Igor. Makes me think of like Frankenstein. You kind of look like Justin Timberlake, so how do you feel about me calling you Justin? And now, all those years later, he is on a television show going by the name Justin. Not only is this like controlling behavior, the fact that he took it on, one could argue, yeah, he liked it. One could also argue she was 30, he was 18. She had the power in the relationship. It feels racist, but they're both white. But fuck it. For the purposes of this, I will say that shit is racist. You get American white and then you got Eastern European white. His parents, who love him, named him that. They looked at him as he was born and they named him Igor. And you decided, fuck all of that. You don't like what it sounds like, so you're just gonna rename him. If this was a black man from South Africa and his name is Thabo, which is a very common name, and she decides that she doesn't like the sound of Thabo, so she's gonna call him Justin. You know, the minute people like heard that, I don't even think they would have been kept on the show. She would have been canceled. Oh, you don't like his black name, so now you gave him a white name when he was 18 and now he goes by it. Did he like it, or was he just Stockholm syndromed into liking the name? I don't know. I find it weird. I find it to be gross and racist. I say racist because if I say like it's prejudiced or whatever, it doesn't really, you know. But racism has that, it has that, you know, what's that? Has that, you know. And I feel about this, so I want that feeling to be like placed in this situation to say, I don't care if he likes it. It's icky. Lastly, we're going to get into a part that just proves that Nikki is truly a woman, because only a woman could get away with the following behavior.
I want to show something. This book, it's like instructions for couples to understand better each other.
Couples make love, and you don't do that with me.
What do you want? Physically, from
Yes, honey. Yes, there's many elements that go into
you
a
came only
relationship.
yesterday.
Can we
Let me
just go?
call.
Can we go?
Let me call. Of course we can go.
Listen, I'm
Okay,
gonna tell you
Next 10
something. I'm
minutes.
gonna tell you something, and you can take it for whatever it is.
Okay.
If something doesn't change, and like seriously, I think this is so beautiful. Yes, thank you. But literally, you have within like 48 hours to change my mind, or I'm literally leaving. Okay, and that's the last time you're ever gonna see me. I'm so done with your like making everything a joke.
You're
I'm
talking
sorry,
about
I'm
very serious.
Yes, I'm very serious.
That's right. You heard it. She gave Justin a 48-hour ultimatum to have sex with her or else she's gonna leave. Because people who are in a relationship have sex and he's not having sex with her. And she gives him money and stuff, she pays for stuff. Is he using her? And I'm like, oh my God. Picture it. Instead of Nikki, this is Big Ed. And instead of Justin, this is Rose. And Big Ed and Rose are walking side by side. And Big Ed says to Rose, that if you don't sleep with me in the next 2 days, I'm gonna leave. Would that have been allowed? Would that have even made it on TV? Nikki Exotika has shown herself to be a predator. There's no other way to put it. She preyed on him when he was 18, and after not entering into another relationship for years, she found him. And now that he's more mature and less likely to be led, she becomes frustrated and issues an ultimatum. I don't know what kind of person listens to someone who says, I got this relationship book for us because I want there to be more, and then the other person goes, thank you for all of this, but people who are in love have sex. Is that all this is about? Is it because he was young and you guys were having a lot of sex and you thought the same thing would happen this time? I understand the insecurity when it comes to him not having sex with you, because the very reason you didn't tell him all those years ago is you were afraid that if he knew, he wouldn't have sex with you. And if he found out, he would stop having sex with you. And in a very roundabout way, that's exactly what happened. But it happened because you engineered it to happen that way. Because yeah, he's having struggles to have sex with you at the time because he was dealing with your identity, but also it is very hard to have sex with somebody who's been lying to you for 2 years. It's hard to have sex with someone when you're repairing trust and you're getting to know each other again. I remember her saying something to the effect that you're using me for my money. People who use their money to attract people need to stop fucking saying that they're being used for their money when that's what you use to entice them. It's okay for them to want you for your money when you're trying to pull them in, but when they expect the thing you pulled them in with, they're being predatory. Why? You led instead of with your personality, with your money, and now you want the personality to be what is going to be the foundation for this relationship. It can't be. You bribed somebody into intimacy, and now you're surprised that you have to continue to bribe them to keep them staying within that intimacy. You had a choice between being alone and being a liar, and you chose to be a liar. And now you're a liar who's giving out ultimatums so that someone has sex with you. Sis.